What's up, guys? How's it going? We beat the over. So there you go. Less than 3 minutes behind. Basically right on time, honestly. But shout out to everybody. Let me know where you're listening from. Give you a shout out. And Anthony will be joining here in a little bit. No worries, no rush on that side. But how you guys doing? That I mentioned it in the previous video. This stream very much needed for several different reasons. Gleese Parlay messed up. Unfortunately, you missed that one. So, but yeah, we got. Make sure to drop a like. We appreciate that. We need this for some group therapy. Like I said, I mentioned it in the last video. I do have several giveaways. So this is the member giveaway. So as a member of the channel, going to spend for that later on. And a chance to win tickets to any game of your choice. It's not been pretty, obviously. That's fairly, that's blatantly obvious at this point. But if you still want to go to any game of your choice the remainder of the season, the games that are available, home or away, as a member, you got your chance there. So I'll be spending for that later. Also have the BG Relic card that I had planned to do during the game on Friday, and then it got away from us. The game was kind of, I don't know, wasn't as fun. I was planning on spending that. I was hoping to do the first touchdown score with the win, because we would hopefully do that after every win, but we did not. So I need to spend for this one, which will be done later. Also, do the 2 tickets for members of the channel. So shout out to you guys hanging out. John, what's up? That Gaming Shorts, The Enchanted, IBH, Jim, what's up? Fred, Abinav, probably said that incorrectly, but Kane Shogun, I think, GP, Garrett, Fanny, Froggy, Dylan, yes, therapy session. So where we're at, we kind of need some therapy a little bit. Where to start, is Fred saying. That is the good. I think we start positive, and then we'll get into some criticisms. I'm sure there'll be some negativity. There's other news that we could talk about. We can talk about Slay, and then we'll wrap it up with some positivity as well. But Frank from Philly, what's up? There you go. Still Grandpa, LA Kid, Jason Duffy, Martin, Michael H, previous Cat. Danny? I think you got most people. Red Scorpion. What's up? How's it going? Yeah, we all could. Okay, good. I nailed the pronunciation. Okay, I figured, but yeah, we need to talk about what's going on with the Eagles. And as I mentioned, Anthony will be here in a bit. Tyler, what's up, man? So I'm curious as well. And yes, Hard Knocks, I'm seeing some of those comments. Hard Knocks does drop tonight, and that is 8 o'clock. Or no, I think it's 9 o'clock Eastern. So in about 20 minutes or so, I think, that HBO is dropping that, the first episode, the NFC East Hard Knocks. I'm curious how much we'll get. I would imagine that it's going to get later into the episodes when we start to have something, maybe, if there's any of the frustrations of the other reports. I still don't know that we're going to get anything like crazy behind the scenes, but it will be interesting nonetheless, because, Hard Knocks does expose some certain things. So we'll see. But yes, that drops tonight. But I am curious because, as I mentioned too, starting out with some optimism, Anthony had a couple of those takeaways as well. But even if you have to just hold to one thing, like any positives. I didn't really go there for the game recap video that dropped over the weekend because, I was trying to just process and say where things are at. And obviously they have not had anything change yet, but it was such a frustrating game, and trying to be as realistic as we can, there's not really a way to sugarcoat it. And at this point, the Eagles, they kind of need to show us rather than tell us or anything from that respect. But still taking some positivities, or some positives, I should say. Anything there? I'm curious. You guys let me know in the chat. Anthony's actually joining here, so here we go. And the Ant-Man has some other things as well. As there we go. We got him.
Hello.
He's here. Ant-Man in the house. What's up?
It's been quite a day, but we're all right. We're doing good. We're hanging in
Okay.
there.
Okay. Prayers for your household. Sickness
Thank
is
you.
never fun, but yes, for anybody believing in that, sending good vibes and prayers to Anthony's household. So hopefully
My
sickness
son's got a
does
little bit
not
of a
linger.
virus going down, so
Never fun. Never, never fun. I know it's been a rough day for you, but I was teasing before uh, for the positivity a little bit, trying to glass half full as much as we can. I mean, within reason, because we're not going to sit here and say like, yeah, the offense is, they're good. This is going to be fine. For 100% confidence. But I don't know. I mean, it feels appropriate to start out with a little bit as Red Scorpion, the 20 bomb, the Philly Special Show memberships. There you go. Appreciate that. That's some positivity right there. 20 other members getting in on the giveaway, the ticket giveaway that'll happen later on the stream. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. But you texted me, I guess it was yesterday. The days all fly together, but yesterday, 2 days ago, whenever it was, a little bit more positivity, even, I mean, maybe from Sirianni's presser, other things from takeaways of the game. We're going to get into it all, but maybe we start with some positive.
so yeah. I mean, the most obvious thing is probably just the schedule. Seems like it should be easier down the final stretch, right? So that's like one positive based on. I tweeted like their last 5 games that the winning percentage of the teams that they played was like 550 or something like that. So like well over 50% of their games those teams were winning, and now down the final stretch it's like well under 500, right? So that's one thing, but also as someone that's unfortunately watches all of the Nick Sirianni press conferences and especially throughout the week, you hear a lot of even hearing Kevin Patullo speak. He hasn't spoke this week yet, but
Mm-hmm.
hearing him speak, it's basically the same person. You can kind of just copy and paste those two. Granted, they've worked together for several years, so those things happen. But Nick Sirianni in particular was saying a lot of the same things. His go-to line this year was about what was it again? He's like this line about how he doesn't want to assign blame. He's not into assigning blame. He wants to find solutions or something like that. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
been
Mm-hmm.
like his go to. He said it in different ways, but it's been like his go to every week. But we didn't hear him, and he spoke for like 15 to 20 minutes early on Monday, I believe, and he didn't say that once. So that was like, hey, whoa, wait a second. He was more so talking about the thing that they understand they have to make changes. He specifically said that you can't expect to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results, which is literally what we've all been calling for because it seems like they're doing the same thing over and over again, whether it's using certain personnel or not using certain personnel. Like they're basically refusing to throw any like kind of curveballs in a sense, right? To like kind of mix things up where and also I saw them mention this on the PHLY show earlier today where it seems like in the first half we see them bring in like a Tank Bigsby as the second running back, or they'll bring in a Cameron Latu, or they'll just like use more 11 person. Like they'll do like these different things that they haven't necessarily been doing all season, and then in the second half they just throw all of that out the window. They like tease us a little bit, and then we just never see it again, especially if the
Mm-hmm.
play doesn't work. So it's just hopefully it does seem like Nick Sirianni is a little bit more open to changes, and as many have said, Zach Berman specifically and Jimmy Kemsky, they wrote about how Nick Sirianni saying publicly that Kevin Patullo is still the play caller doesn't necessarily mean that that's definitely what's going to happen. Maybe they're like easing in another person in that role or whatever the case might be, or they're changing how he's going to approach things. Regardless, from what Nick Sirianni said, I feel a lot more optimistic moving forward with these final 5 weeks of the regular season that we are going to see some changes and it's not necessarily going to be more of the same.
Well, I hope so. As we've all continued to say, I mean, it's like at this point we do need to see it. And getting to some of these super chats, Tony with a 2, appreciate that, Tony. I didn't see a comment, but don't feel like you have to super chat again if you comment back. Oh wait, here we go. Okay, it didn't come up on the super chat, but I see the comment, so I'll mention this. Tony says, first time super chat, not enough blame to Jeff Stoutland. Everything is determined by the O-line, no run game, and mediocre pass protection. So that is not as positive to start, but we will hit on the topics, and it's understandable to be frustrated. And Jeff Stoutland deserves blame. We've talked about it on a number of live streams during the game. The offensive line is not playing as good as it should be at all. It's nowhere close. It's not even average. It's below average in terms of the offensive line. So you can only do so much with the offensive line playing the way it is. I mean, I forgot who it was that was sharing the game film clips. Now, you could watch the Chicago offense. Ben Johnson is mastermind. He's the offensive coordinator, was the offensive coordinator. The reason he got the head coach job for the Bears, he still calls the plays and all that other stuff. And the way that Vic Fangio talks about Ben Johnson, you're like, well, he wouldn't say that. Like, if you were to ask him honestly, no one's going to ask him this question, but if you were to ask him honestly, like, okay, how do you feel about Kevin Patullo? He wouldn't necessarily say that. I could confidently say that he would not make the same remarks. But Ben Johnson's had a whole lot of more experience. Totally understand that. There's still an element to it, though, where you look across the league and there's some teams that just spam the same running play over and over and over and over and over, and it works for them. Like, there's also case in point of, if anyone saw the Buffalo Bills game against the Steelers, they ran the same run play like 15 times. You had TJ Watt after the game going, I've never seen a team have so much success against anyone, let alone us, by running the exact same play every single time. And yet James Cook had, I don't even know what it was, 7 yards a carry, 8 yards a carry. It was just easy for them at that point. They're rushing for 260 yards as a team. And we don't need that. But yes, to the extent of running the football makes everything so much easier. Look at the Chargers, which we have this week. Look at what they did against the Raiders. You're at the time of the year, it feels like, where the run game gets a little bit more important. Not that it wasn't already, but you start playing some of those games outdoors in particular. This week won't be, I know that, but you play some of them outdoors, and it's a little bit different, especially the cold, the weather, the wind, the implications on that, and we experienced it on Black Friday. So I understand that, Tony. A little bit maybe more on that side, but I don't know. I was hoping to do positives, but we will hit on the super chats too, so I know that's more negative.
I mean, I've been kind of leading the charge as far as saying that, like, Jeff Stoutland deserves just as much blame as Kevin Patullo for the struggle so far, because if we're going to give the guy all this praise when the offensive line is so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what we say every year, like, oh, we don't have to worry about the offensive line because Jeff Stoutland's running that unit. I know they've had a couple injuries. Lane Johnson's been out, but for the most part, and we mentioned it last week, like, Cam Jurgens is on the field. Landon Dickerson is on the field. Jordan Mailata is on the field. Like, Tyler Steen's a third-round pick. Fred Johnson's obviously like a kind of a later addition, but those guys should be able to do more than what we've seen in recent weeks. And honestly, I feel like it's almost time for them to almost dumb down the offense a little bit, because sometimes it feels like whether they're just trying to switch things up just for the sake of switching things up, or like they're just trying to do what they see other teams doing successfully, even though they don't necessarily have the personnel to do that. Like, Fran Duffy shared a clip where he compared the Eagles running a passing concept and then the Rams running that same exact concept. Like, just looks like two basically different levels of, even though the talent is very similar.
Oh,
it just seems like they just can't do. Oh, my son is up, so I might have to go step off, but we'll see if my wife can get it. Okay. But
if you need to, you're good.
Yes, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. Family first. As we know, we'll get Anthony back, maybe, hopefully. But again, dealing with some sickness there. As Anthony was saying, though, and I know what he was referencing, yeah, you see one team with the Rams run a very similar play, almost identical, and you see the Eagles run it, and they just haven't been as effective. So it is irritating. John with the super chat, appreciate the 5. They need to show us, not tell us. Thank you. You're right, Josh. I'm still. I'm holding out hope. I don't know necessarily, because I haven't really quantified it in terms of like, percentage chance of, like, I'm not even really going to the Super Bowl like, whatever. It's incredibly unlikely. It feels incredibly unlikely right now, but I'm not even going to that point, honestly. Like, right now, I'm just thinking next game, just prove it to me against the Chargers, and then we'll see. Like there's been so much of so many weeks, especially for this offense. So the Chargers, maybe you can get something changed or rolling. If you watched the last video, or you watched Nick Foles' podcast, or you saw it on different social media platforms, I'm sure that most of you have by now, but it was a fantastic clip from Foles of a couple different suggestions, right? One was, hey, move Kevin Patullo to the box. It can't hurt. Like, you got to change something. So as Anthony was mentioning as well, like with Sirianni and his adjustments, he's talking about it. It was a little bit different than what we've typically heard Sirianni say, but it's still just like lip service. We got to see it. Why not move Kevin Patullo to the box? It can't hurt. It can't get worse. And if it helps him to have more of a controlled environment, like Foles was saying, then absolutely just run with that. The other part that kind of goes hand in hand with what Anthony was saying a second ago is like they will. The Eagles will run. You notice in the first series or the first two series, the Eagles are one of the best teams with early scoring. They can typically score. I mean, they're certainly scoring better than they were last year. We remember it was, 9 weeks before the Eagles even scored in the first quarter? So they're better than last year with Kellen Moore. It's anything after that. It's the adjustments. It's trying to change things up. But at this point, it's like, I mean, they have to, it almost feels like luck, quite honestly. Like after the scripted series, then Patullo trying to fill the game out, it's over. So if you didn't see it again, the suggestion there was Nick Foles saying 15 scripted plays for every quarter. And that may feel like, man, that's overkill. That's ridiculous. But he even says in it, it's like that was Andy Reid's philosophy. He's sitting there watching the film, trying to think through how the game is going to play out. And he scripts out 15 plays for every quarter. Because if everything goes terribly, right? If all else fails and you're like, man, we can't kind of find ourselves. We're off kilter. The timing, everything. You've got your place. Like there's something you can come back to. So you've got your flashcards. You can say, okay, you know what? There's so many different distractions. There's emotions running high. There's everything else, but we have planned for it. And it just feels like he has nowhere else to go. So it is pretty ridiculous. But Tyler, I see your comment here. Remember for 10 months. Appreciate that. One of the OGs on the streams. Ant said he doesn't want Slay back. Explain. I don't know if Anthony is actually going to be. So yeah. So his son again. He's got a virus. He's family first, as we know. So I don't know that Anthony will be back, but he can answer that maybe in his mailbag. I think he has that out coming in the next few days. But we'll do that, or on a upcoming stream video, something like that. I could maybe show a little bit of the assumption on that, I suppose. Let me see if I can actually get the screen share to work. Here we go. 1 second. Let's get that full screen. There. A little better. So if you didn't see this, and this is just the comment or the reference to it from Tyler talking about Slay, but the Steelers and Slay mutually agree to part ways. Slay's agent, Rosenhaus, Robert Bailey, they're going to look at other opportunities of where he could go and play. He has to clear waivers. Remember, at this point in the season, doesn't matter how long you played, you're clearing waivers. If he does, then the Eagles might have a chance to bring him back. I don't know if I necessarily want him he's just been so bad this season. And I know that a change of scenery is sometimes not a good thing, so maybe it's like he wasn't used in the correct way. Can he help with the locker room? Sure. Maybe so. Help with the other dynamic. I mean, the Eagles went and made a move for Jair Alexander, so there is an argument to be made there that Jair Alexander was playing not good at all. And he was needing some more rehab, I guess, or he needed something else on that side that the Eagles took a chance. So if they were willing to trade, very, very minimal, but trade for something, I don't knock the idea that Slay could be back in Philly. I'm just not sure that there's going to be much that you get from him. And the comment from Anthony, or probably what he would have said, again, I'll let him maybe answer on a different stream officially, but there was one of his tweets from earlier, and this was back before whenever Slay was healthy inactive against Buffalo. He's the worst cornerback in the league of a cornerback who's played a decent amount. You could say some that barely get out there, but of a cornerback with 300-plus coverage snaps this season, you see it right there, allowed a passer rating of 126.7. Not great. Not great at all. But, he knows Fangio's scheme. He's more comfortable here. So I'm not saying it wouldn't be the worst option, or if you get him for a backup, an injury in case Adoree Jackson will go down. I've seen those comments there too. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he does end up back in Philly. And some people are citing sources of sorts, if that makes sense. There's nothing official from like a bigger name source, but people are more so just speculating like, oh, hey, Slay is trying to figure this thing out and see if that's an opportunity. But so far, we have not heard anything. So we'll keep you guys posted. Obviously, go live if there's any breaking news or anything like that. But that would be my assumption. Again, that's just speaking for Anthony, but his son is sick, so prayers and best thoughts to Anthony. The Ant-Man will be back on, hopefully, regular scheduled programming next week. By the way, go ahead and keep up the positivity. So I'll give about 5 more memberships just for the ticket giveaway. That'll be later on the stream. So it's all at random. You guys know that. At least most people do. But there you go. Shane, Scared Hearts, Joseph Krager, I believe, Eagles Centric, and Phillies, I think. I believe how that's pronounced it. There you go. Israel put KP in a box and then in parentheses prison. Good gosh. Hey, let me just say this too. And I know that you're not saying it to this extent, but we got to be serious about it. And I shared this in the last video too. I totally understand. We can say fire Kevin Patullo. We can get upset. We can have some emotions. There can be signs that have been put on across Philly of the fire Patullo and trying to make different statements like that. That's perfectly fine. Let your voice be heard, right? They're cool. Do that. To the extent of throwing eggs, of egging his home, totally uncalled for. Ridiculously lame. Now, it was, I think, a young group of, I don't know, teenagers or whatnot that got posted on social media, a police report of being at Patullo's home. But at first it was, they threw rocks, and then it was found out that it was egging his home. I don't care what it was. Like, uncalled for. Ridiculous. There's a line of, again, you could say, hey, I want him gone. I want him fired. He frustrates us. Everything else, you guys see the jokes that I play for memes and everything else. And yeah, it is irritating where the offense is. But when it goes to a person's home and their family, like, it should be blatantly obvious. But obviously for teens and everybody's, does stupid things growing up. So I'm not saying that I'm immune or anyone else. But that, come on, be smarter than that. Salin, I don't know why they've changed this from the actual name to the username. So again, sometimes this pops up. But Salin 2011 with a 10 bomb. Appreciate that. Hopefully Slay clears waivers for a reunion. See, there we go. There's some hope on that side of getting that. We still need to sign Justin Simmons, in my opinion. Sidney Brown ain't it. When Lane comes back, I feel like the offense will take off. I hope so. I don't know if I'm ready to go with Lane as the answer for the offense to take off. It'd be phenomenal. It would be absolutely phenomenal. And by the way, it looks like or sounds like Lane Johnson will be back for the Raiders game. He's making a push to play by the Raiders game. So you have the Chargers Monday Night Football game here or in LA, but this week. And then after that one, it's a Sunday early kickoff, 1 p.m. Eastern against the Raiders. And from all signs, from multiple media members, that's whenever Lane is sounding like he's going to be able to play. It feels incredibly early, especially for a Lisfranc sprain. Even if it was minor, I don't know, just seen other people posting, other medical experts, and then also my brother's an orthopedic surgeon, so I just was curious and texted him, and all people are different, understand that. No one knows the exact case of it, but he was like, bro, even like a mild sprain there, I would just not risk it. Like, what do you need to? Especially if it's just the Raiders. Now, we've seen so far is that no win is a foregone conclusion. So, I don't know. But if he feels good enough, then fine. You know what? Get him out there. He's certainly going to help, but I don't know. You are correct that Sidney Brown does not appear to be it. Go back and watch that film. Missed tackles, a liability in the passing game. Very fortunate, quite honestly, because if it was not Caleb Williams missing on at least 2 throws, probably a couple more than that, but for sure 2 throws that I'm thinking about, Sidney Brown was the furthest away from his man, from his receiver. Would have been easy touchdowns for Chicago. So, yeah. And which I should bring up, it's a good point, just a call out there for Sidney Brown. But I think that it tells you the story of where the Eagles are at, because they have opened up the practice window for Marcus Epps. And we're not saying that he is the savior either, but the fact that there's maybe a little bit more hope in Marcus Epps from his injury, so open up the practice window from the IR, release defensive back Perry Nickerson from the practice squad, making some space on that side. Yeah, it's telling you there's probably not a whole lot of optimism coming away from the game film there, but maybe Marcus Epps can shore it up better until Andrew Mukuba. We'll see the official status on that side, but he did have surgery. The hope was that he'd be able to return for the playoffs if we're in that point. And I do believe that we are, by the way, just for people wondering like what this is going to take for the Eagles making the playoffs. It'd be nice if the Lions could beat Dallas for us on Thursday night in a couple nights. But regardless, it doesn't even matter if the Eagles take care of business. If they win games that they should, because remember, we got the Chargers in LA, home game against the Raiders, a away game against the Commanders, an away game against the Commanders, away game against the Bills, and a home game against the Commanders. So if we take care of business the way that we should, there shouldn't be the concern. But again, that's the reason that they play the game, because as we've seen, we've lost some games that shouldn't have happened, and we've won some games that it's been, man, kudos to the defense for holding up their end of the bargain. But the offense has not pulled their weight so far. Fresh with the 5 Philly Special Show memberships. There you go, 5 more. So we've gotten, I think, 30 out, I believe, if I'm not mistaken so far. Appreciate you guys. Let's you know what? Let's do. I think I can do more. Yeah. There we go. Let's do 5 more. Might as well. Young Chip, the stash is back, I think, but like I did it for the game and it didn't work. I did it for the Chicago game. Some people didn't see it until the last video or the last couple videos. So I think people were like, "Oh, hey, I don't know. I don't know if it's actually staying put." We'll see. Yeah, Life of Demo, lucky 13-4 if it happens to it. But congrats to those 5 members also getting in on the ticket giveaway, which I'll spin later. And good luck to you guys. Mark, I believe it was kids throwing. They said young Eagles fans. The only thing that I was able to see is that it was young Eagles fans. I believe maybe young teens. There was a viral clip that got posted, and at least from the police report, that's what it sounded like. I don't know if there were other adults accompanied. If it was, you're right. That's absolutely ridiculous. Either way, it's totally uncalled for. But, again, who hasn't done something idiotic or stupid when we were younger? And you regret it and you live and you learn. But they still should, like, come on, leave him alone at the home. Kelly with a 2. I want to see them play play how the commies. Oh yes, I want to see them play how the commies did on Sunday Night Football. That was kind of frustrating to see the Commanders. They lost, right? But they to play the way they did without Jaden Daniels, so you got a backup quarterback. Terry McLaurin on a pitch count. I mean, he was going in and out almost every other snap. You got some other guys banged up in the secondary as well. And they were going back and forth, had a really, really good chance to knock off the Broncos. I was kind of thinking the same thing. I can't help it at moments, but to see an offense, especially missing some weapons and going, man, they're still putting up more points than our offense is. It's a little frustrating, but say what you will. The Commanders got a bye week. That was kind of, to me, I felt like that was their not last hurrah, but their odds are so, I don't know. They're so little odds to begin with, but it felt like that was their last ditch effort to say, we're going to try to throw everything possible because we really need to win this game, even more so if you look at the percentages and chances for them to make the playoffs. But still, the fact that they were able to make some changes and adjustments over the bye week, you got Cliff Kingsbury, who, he can get predictable the later the season goes, but he's still been a play caller, and you can tell it, and you could sense it in the game. When something's working, all right, hey, they went back to it. They hit him for multiple times. They tried to take advantage. They got opportunities with McLaurin. So, yeah, I would appreciate just going with what works. Sometimes, as Anthony was saying earlier, they get too complex. I think they try to be too creative at times, and then they go to the reverse of that when those plays don't work, and it gets so mundane, so boring of these hitch routes. So there's not like a happy medium in there. It would be so much better if there was. Fanny with a 2, at least we're not the Browns or Titans. That's a positive way to look at it, I suppose. I appreciate the spin on the optimism. Yes, it is. It could technically be worse, even though it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot on that side. Defensively, I'll just say this. Again, trying to look for reasons of optimism here. There is still some hope. The Eagles, record-wise, I mean, they still got a really slim chance at the top seed, and it's just record-wise, right? So don't like, don't punch me through the screen of saying like, bro, you're insane. I'm not saying based on vibes. I'm not saying based on anything we've seen recently over the past couple weeks. Just percentages, right? Just from the record itself. And I thought I had a clip here for the record itself, but maybe I don't. I'll try to find this here. I was just going to put it up on the screen as far as reference, but to see where the playoff picture is currently. And here we go. I think I can. Yeah, I think I could share this one and let you guys see a little bit better. Here we go, as we're talking about it. So again, just trying to be as optimistic as possible. But that is the NFC playoff picture currently as things stand. So again, you got Chicago as the 1 seed, 9-3. The Rams lost to the Panthers. So there was also some optimism that I mentioned in the last video. This season, more than any other, is up for grabs. Now, the Rams, I think, are still a legit threat. And if I was picking who's going to be the 1 seed, I'm not totally buying the Bears hanging on to that. I think that the Rams probably have the best chance because they played poorly. They got run all over by the Carolina Panthers. And you go back and look at some games where you're like, man, how did the Panthers beat them? They looked terrible against San Francisco. And they turned right around and dominate the Rams. So any team could beat any team, and it's any given day, obviously. But I think that it's more so of they had a bad day. Stafford had a bad day. Rams defense didn't show up, and it could happen. It could totally happen in the playoffs. But for them, it's not been like they've been playing with fire for 4 or 5 weeks like the Eagles offense. So I think there's a difference there. But still, you look at the record-wise, and it's like, okay, the Eagles have the tiebreaker over the Rams. If the Rams slip up one game and the Eagles found lightning in a bottle, if Petula was plugged into the Matrix and downloaded Ben Johnson's brain magically, I'm just saying the only from record wise, this is what I'm saying, but there would be a chance there for the Eagles because the Rams do have a difficult schedule remaining compared to what the Eagles games are to potentially win that. Now, they don't have the tiebreaker over Chicago. We all understand that because the Black Friday game. But Chicago's also got some really difficult ones. They're not favored against the Packers, the both remaining games, and there's going to be opportunities for Chicago, I think, really to lose 2 games. And if that were to happen and the Eagles were to win out, then yeah, you could be looking at a scenario of 13-4, 12-5. I mean, that's not the worst record just looking at the record. But again, I forgot who posted this, so I apologize. Someone mentioned it on the last video. They had it was the difference of there was an NFL fan. I think they were saying like, we're talking about the teams and how they look. Just an NFL fan who did not watch the Eagles and go like, man, why is everybody so upset? It's 8-4. You could very easily looking at your schedule be 12-5, maybe even 13-4. Why is everybody so frustrated? And that's the picture of when someone goes, hey, it's not as gloomy. They haven't watched the games and they haven't seen how the Eagles have been playing with fire for too long with the offense. But again, if they figure something out on the offense, if the offensive line, it's a whole lot of ifs. I understand that, but I'm not concerned about the defense. So optimism again, going back to that defensively. I know that they got gashed in the run game, but I would go to Fangio's had moments where we got just really beaten down in the run game or beaten down in other areas and then made adjustments. Like you think back to the first Giants game, right? Like coming off of a loss to the Broncos, think, okay, this is a short week. This is a good thing. We're going to rebound. We're going to beat the Giants and then get this thing right back on track. Obviously did not happen. It was an embarrassment and we got run all over. And you're going, man, this defense, it's okay. I'm concerned now because they're not what we thought they were. There's been issues, but Fangio's adjustments are different because he's been there before. He understands, okay, hey, we need to change this, or we need to get the guys properly, or prepared for the game because they weren't playing up to whether it's the scheme, make a personnel adjustment. Obviously, Nakobe Dean coming into the lineup helped, but there were still some changes that he's made. So I believe that he's going back to the game. He's going to show everybody, call him out. He's not afraid to say it like it is. And then we'll see some difference because Fangio's proven that. So he gets the benefit of the doubt. Yes, no excuse to have almost 300 rushing yards given up, but I'm watching for this next game. If the Chargers also put up 180, 200, 250 rushing yards, then okay, we sound the alarm, because then the defensive line, it tells me it's not only like scheme-wise we have some concerns, but personnel is crushing us, and there's only so much they can do. But I'm believing that the team is going to respond on the defensive side, but you got to have that replicated on the offense. Otherwise, I think it was Fran Duffy who made the mention of this, but it's like you got the opportunity of, you had the defense playing up to a certain level for so many weeks. Finally, the dam broke. You can only ask them for so many times. You could make the same parallel to the Rams. Every team's going to have a bad game at some point. Every player is going to have a bad game at some point. If the team can pick each other up in different levels, then you're fine. But the defense was carrying the weight for so long, eventually it was a matter of time that, oh, hey, maybe the defense has a bad game. And the crazy part is, even with a bad game, they still only gave up 24. If the offense had played decently, we're talking about an Eagles win. And then we're going, well, okay, are we concerned about the defense, or was that just kind of a one-off scenario? We still got the win, and the offense did well, but it hasn't been that. It hasn't been that since the bye week. Had a giant showing, and then after that, it wasn't. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see, but I'm not concerned about the defense. I've had those questions as well. Jamar, welcome to the Let's Run It, or welcome back, I should say, but got the membership on that side. Dylan with a 5. Appreciate the super chat here. Says, people want to blame personnel. We were up 17-3, 21-0 on the Broncos and Cowboys. The elite team is still there, but this all comes down to coaching. Yeah, I mean, if we're starting out with a concern level or who the blame is, for sure, it's on the coaching, and it's mainly offensively, because you look at, did the defense give up too many points in some of those games? Sure, but like, you got to be able to score a little bit more points. You can't go of multiple quarters of not being able to do anything, because then it makes life harder, and the defense gets out there for, nothing like the Bears game, but 40 minutes time possession. Are you kidding me? 40-20? You don't even have to look at any other stat, really. Like, that's an automatic loss. I don't know when. I'm sure somebody could correct on this, but I don't know when that ever works out for a team. You get doubled up in time possession, you still win the game like that. It's just... It's not the best recipe for success. We'll say that. Let's see. I had another comment here, I believe. Oh, yes. Well, Mike saying, Jake, Missy, we're going back to it. Missy Elliott took 4 points off the board. Yeah. I don't know. He missed... He missed one you would have hoped that he would have made, but it was still a difficult... It's cold, the wind. I think it was, 52, if I'm not mistaken. The extra point, 100%. Like, it gets you in a bind, and then we go for 2 early, and we could debate whether or not they should have gone for 2, or they should have waited and kicked the extra point and make sure that it was still just a one possession. You don't crush the beliefs of the team, all that other stuff. But, yeah, the extra point was rough. Now, last year, he had an injury that he was dealing with, which was the reason for the misses. But this year, I don't think that's the case. We haven't heard anything, and he seemed to be pretty good up to that point. So I don't know. Oh, lost the card. Okay. Frank, what's up? Saw you earlier, but it says coming up on 2 years subscribed to the channel. Dude, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody, but the OGs from the beginning, it means a ton. We passed 148,000 subscribers. I forgot to mention that earlier when we started the stream, but 148,000 subscribers, and not quite, actually, 2-3 months away from the 3-year mark on the channel. It's insanity. So appreciate you guys for that, and that's the reason that we do the giveaways. The bigger this thing gets, the more that we can do, and you guys make it possible. So yeah, gonna do several of those. For the members, it's going to be the ticket giveaway. I might as well go ahead and spin for this one. Again, this is the BG Relic card. Shout out Jordan Spector, Spector Sports Art. They got some great deals, by the way, that they have for Black Friday, and I think they're still through the end of tonight. I think there's an extension. So if you go to SpectorSportsArt.com and you use code JoshD10, you should be able to get an extra discount there. But for those that are here on the stream or commented previously on the video, I'm going to go ahead and spin because I think they have that all good to go. And this was from previously. Like I mentioned, I didn't get a chance to do that during the game because emotions ran high, and all of a sudden kind of forgot to celebrate or do any of that. But this one will be for the BG, and then I'm going to do the tickets, like I said, in a little bit for the members. So good luck all. Hopefully you're on the stream. If you're not, no worries. You get a chance to claim it. But, can everybody see it? Yeah, there we go. Okay, Free Spool Kayak Fishing with the username there. Free Spool Kayak Fishing. And you've won the BG Relic card. I just need to hear from you. I'll mention this on the videos, upcoming videos. You have a chance to claim this. I'll post it as well. If I don't, though, and this goes for the regular case, but I think you guys know this. If I don't hear from Free Spool Kayak Fishing, then I'm going to give it away during a live stream to somebody else. So they got a week, and if it's still here, it'll happen on the next Tuesday night hangout. So there you go. All good, Jamar. You're good, man. Let's see. James just got home. What did I miss? Did we throw cheese sticks at KP's house? Stop. We're all frustrated. We're all irritated. Don't be doing any of that. We don't need it anymore. No throwing anything at his house. We're better than that. Matt with a 20. Dude, I appreciate that very much. What's up, Eagle family? What's up? Shout out, Matt. Working the Black Friday shift and having to deliver packages, and what I assume was the freezing cold, delivering packages and having to listen to the ridiculousness of the Eagles and what they did on Black Friday. So, but shout out to you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yes, it could. I appreciate all the rigged comments as well. Thank you. Keegan today marks 1 year subscribed. Well, there you go. Usually it lets you post it, but Frank, you used the code for SeatGeek. Okay. There you go. Special 10. There were actually like multiple ones, but I think the current one is Special 10. They've gone back and forth, like Philly Special, Special 10, all the other stuff. But, if anybody's looking to sign up for Underdog, feel free on that one. Obviously, the QR code, but code Philly Special. Shout out to them, able to give away some of the tickets. They've sponsored a couple of those this season. I think that there's a chance something is in the works in terms of sponsoring playoff tickets. Now, again, you might be saying playoffs. What are we talking about that? We shouldn't even. We're way too. But you're right. But if it does happen, there sounds like a pretty good possibility of giving away some playoff tickets. So stay tuned. I'll keep you guys posted if and when that happens. But shout out to Underdog. Get you some bonus funds and everything else there, or just have the other stuff. And then we still do have the ticket giveaways regular for just subscribers. You don't have to be members, but subscribers, when the Eagles win, it's ridiculous because we've gone a couple weeks now, and it's like we kind of get used to, oh, hey, there's an Eagles win, do the giveaway. That one is courtesy of another channel sponsor, SeatGeek. So speaking of, like Frank had mentioned, the next win. And if it's hopefully Monday Night Football for the Chargers, then the game recap video will have that one. So typically do that. Thomas and I will be streaming for the game as always as well. And then we got the game previews. But Dylan with a 5. This offense reminds me of the 2024 Bengals. No offensive line, no run game, relies on quarterback play and wide receivers. Only difference is our offensive coordinator is reading a play sheet in Mandarin, or just a language that he doesn't understand. But okay. Yeah, I suppose so. But like, the problem is he's got so many weapons. And you're right. The offensive line has been very much an issue. But he still does have options, and he's got weapons. And it's difficult to see, right? Because Jalen Hurts played poorly against the Bears. And he's played poorly the last couple weeks. Now, you look at the film, and we try to do this breakdown and try to stay as objective as we possibly can. There's not a whole lot of great options. When there are a couple, Jalen has missed them. So he's not getting a free pass by any means. He's not played up to the standard, and I'm sure that he would admit that. There's also been a lack of communication. I shared the clip from Kurt Warner. Some of us agreed to disagree, which is totally fair. I'm just relying on a Hall of Fame quarterback to break down the film and tell me what's happening to something that we can't necessarily understand, because to us that are going through this and like, okay, I'm not used to either an NFL offense or fully understanding what takes place during practices or during the scheme and actually building up the game plan. When Smitty makes has the route across the middle and Jaelan misses him, it's like, oh my gosh, Jaelan, come on. And it was still a bad throw. It doesn't take away the fact that it was a bad throw. And then you see Goddard running wide open on the seam route, right? He could have gone to Dallas Goedert. You're like, oh, Jaelan, really look that direction. You easily should have seen this one coming. But then when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback in Kurt Warner, which I shared in the last video, so feel free to, or I think the last video for Kurt Warner and breaking that one down, it's a little bit different because they're hot, and that automatically dictated that he goes to the left side, and then it's a choice route. And he's talking about the differences of going for the out route versus in, and Jalen's feet are automatically set to the out. I don't know if that's a coaching point from Kevin Patullo. So there's so many things with it that it does come down to communication. I credit Jaelan for not throwing Devonta under the bus. Maybe it was Jalen's fault. Maybe it was Smitty's. Maybe it was a combo of the miscommunication. Jaelan just said there was a miscommunication for both of us. I need to get better. We need to practice it. It comes down to details. That's what he does. I do appreciate the fact that he did not take the Aaron Rodgers route. If you didn't hear that clip, I also included that in the video. But him missing Jonnu Smith, his tight end, when he had a better option there. But just pointing it out, that's one play. So again, I'm not saying it's a free pass of like, oh well, he just all those plays were miscommunication. He did. He missed some throws. He got fortunate on the A.J. Brown touchdown. A.J.'s a beast, so he made him look good, but it was a very underthrown ball. The wind plays a factor, sure, but it was not the best. And I think that it was one of his worst games of the season. I said that. It's a combo, though. Like, the best offensive coordinators, as we've seen, look at the Bears, look at the Patriots, right? Like, no offense to Drake May, no offense to Caleb Williams. They got some OCs that are making their life easier. They're making some throws, they're making some plays, for sure. But they've got some offensive coordinators that have been there before, or some play callers, because once a head coach, but some play callers that have been there and done it, and they can make life easier. Whereas for Jaelan, it feels like it's pulling teeth the entire time. He's got some weapons, and you see some of those inbreakers that happened even earlier in the game. Now, the frustrating part, yes, is that more of those happened late, and it's like, okay, yeah, but Chicago's playing prevent defense, and would that have happened if the game had continued up there? But I'm still holding out hope of the very, very small hope, and this is what I would just say. I'm just trying to look for any sort of minor optimism. Seeing A.J. Brown catch some passes over the middle of the field, seeing A.J. Brown score a touchdown, seeing Jaelan and A.J. celebrate that touchdown late in the game against Chicago. I know it's incredibly small, right? And it may be, I don't know, maybe it's embarrassing to be like, oh, hey, there's a win. There's a positive to come from that. But we didn't see it earlier in the season. We didn't see a touchdown between those two of any sort of interaction. It was like, do they even acknowledge that each other's on the field, let alone try to celebrate when they do something at all? So the fact that they did have a touchdown and there was a celebration after that score, I'll take it as a very, very small win. Because if AJ is locked in and AJ's feeling seen, heard, whatever, and Jalen's going to him, we've already seen Smitty so far this season. He's played well. He's kind of nursing a banged-up shoulder, so there's something to do with that, but we'll see later on in the week for the injury report. I don't know. If there's any sort of competency within the offensive coordinator. Now, it doesn't look like KP's changing, but we'll see. Seeing those watching Hard Knocks. I'm going to check that out in a little bit. But Frank, where has Campbell been at? I think that Vic just believes more in Nakobe right now. I think that he's kept him off the field. He's tried to... Soccer Star. Sorry, I'm just catching up on some of these comments, but just skipped through Hard Knocks. Jaelan definitely not a fan of KP. Okay, I don't know what that's referencing to, and I don't know if that's jumping to conclusions either, but I am curious to see what comes up on that. And Dylan, it's fair also. Both of Hurt's worst games were in 30-mile-per-hour winds. Goff and Caleb both had under 50% completion. Yes, the quarterbacks played very poorly. And if Chicago if they didn't run like they did, if they only ran for like 100 yards, it's probably a completely different ballgame. It's probably, again, the Eagles, I mean, they went for 2, so maybe they don't, but it's like a 17-16 ball. I mean, it's super close. It's a low-scoring affair. But they still could have been so much better. There were multiple opportunities, and it doesn't excuse that really. But it is a fair point to make. Fanny, did you see the headline in Newsweek just posted about why they removed us from prime time to 5 p.m. on December 20th? They said it was due to our underwhelming performance. I did not see that. Who said that it was due to underwhelming? Was it Newsweek and they're just speculating, or was it the NFL, someone from the NFL that said we removed them because of their underwhelming performance? I'm curious. I didn't see that headline. I'm just curious to where that came from. Because I don't blame them if they're looking at it and saying, I believe I'm not mistaken, that the Packers and Bears got swapped out for us, right? So I can't fault it. The Commanders are done. And quite honestly, Jaden Daniels, I wouldn't be surprised if he shut down for the rest of the season, because the Commanders' only way to make the playoffs is if the Eagles lose and the Commanders have to. I think the Eagles would, if I'm not mistaken on this either, I think the Eagles would have to lose out. The Cowboys would have to lose the vast majority of their games remaining, and the Commanders would have to win out. It's the most ridiculous, lowest percent chance of anything happening. So if the Commanders lose this weekend, or the Eagles win, or vice versa, or a combo of something, or they tie with the, I think they're playing the Vikings, then it's over for them. And at that point, it's like, why would you rush back Jaden Daniels? The elbow injury, the dislocation, I mean, maybe to get him some reps and everything, but why risk it if your season is done and you're not playing for anything there? So either way, yeah, I don't fault them for swapping it out. Games get flexed. Is it a little bit, I don't know, alarming, irritating, whatever, a sign to see how poor the season has gone for, or the offense has been for the Eagles to say they're getting swapped out? Maybe, but I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's where the Bears and Packers, because there's more on the line. Both teams are playing for the division, so I don't know. Doesn't bother me too much. Let's see. Oh, Frank, I'm also not happy about Carter losing weight. He's just not the same as he's been the past 2 years. Carter, or you saying Jalen Carter, or are you talking about Jordan Davis? He's in better shape, but he's lost some weight. So I saw some people saying that about the run game. I'm just interested if you're talking about one of those. I see some of these other comments. I'll read some of them, but some of them no. Appreciate that. Back where Kramer, Anthony had to drop. His son is sick, so prayers towards that way. Let's see. Fanny, I was said that's what's like. Oh, what likely influenced the NFL vying for the tops? Yeah. So again, that makes sense. James, every time I bet on Goddard, he lets me down. It's been very unfortunate. I think it's sad too because of how poor the offense has been. A lot of those pick'ems, we were hitting a lot more last year. Last year, it's easier when Saquon's having the year that he was, but with Underdog, it was fairly easy because you say, hey, well, what's Saquon's line? Perfect. Give me the over. Or certainly take like the longest rush, because it was like every game he's going to have one rush that, there's a 20-yard, 30-yard, 40-yard, multiple, 60 yards in some of those. So, yeah, it made life a whole lot easier. This year, I don't know. It's been a total loss. Doesn't make sense. And isn't it, I don't know if it's funny or ironic to it. Okay, Frank, you just, okay, Jalen Carter seems smaller. Maybe so. I don't know what his official weight is. He has seemed to get moved more. Just the run game in general has not been good, but yeah, that's fair. But yes, what I was saying there is, as far as just the A.J. Brown, it is kind of strange, ironic, that right after A.J. Brown says, if you got me in fantasy, what was it? If you got me in fantasy, trade me, or something to that effect. And I think that since that moment, he's been like one of the top scorers, top receivers in the league. So hopefully you didn't take that advice. If you did, you're in a bad way. Megan with a 3 with the hypothetical question here. The one that why are we playing this game here? Would you rather have George Pickens or Smitty? Megan, why are we playing this game? This is a total hypothetical. I don't. I love the comments here too. I'm curious why Megan's asking this one actually. Because you don't get too many of these comments on this, unless maybe a Cowboys fan or just the curiosity. I will say this, right? So look, because you asked, and I got to answer it here. From a team perspective, and for where they're at, I would take Smitty because George Pickens feels like the guy who's gonna. He's proven it in his career. He's going to cost you some games when things are not going this way. Now, the Cowboys have been playing very good. I got to give them credit to it. They've been playing really good. They've been playing like one of the best teams in the NFC over the last couple games. So, regardless of if we choked the game away, we gave it to him, the gift, everything else there. But Smitty is the better team player and everything else. Now, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, I know, but I'm just being objective and trying to. So from a strictly skills perspective, from a matchup one-on-one, George Pickens he's above Smitty. And I know that people are going to be like, oh, come on. But so I'm not picking him. If I would I rather have, I would have Devonta, because I don't want a guy who's going to crush the locker room, the vibes, the morale, everything else. And George Pickens has proven to do that. So just because he's having a good season so far, I don't trust that thing's going to stick where it is. But if you're just going based on skills alone, then yeah, I said what I said, and I know that's fine. Roy, I'm getting booed. Yep, see, Dylan. Oh, Josh, he's gone off the rails now. See, Michael, bro, no way. Loopy, I'd have to disagree. No, you're fine. I'm not saying that Smitty's route running is worse. It's not. I don't think that Smitty's route running is worse than Pickens. I just one-on-one matchup, it's only skills. Again, that's my opinion here. I'm sorry. Blame Megan for even asking the question. Yeah, Drew, he's elite. He's just a nutcase. That I think that sums it up perfectly. Rich, thank you. We're moving on. Ask a different question. That one should not have been. I know Smitty won the Heisman. Mike, fine, he won the Heisman. You know how many players won the Heisman that does not apply for, though? I'm not trying. I don't know why I'm trying to debate this. I'm shooting myself in the foot here. But just because they won the Heisman, it's not the end all be all. Smitty's insane. I said that I would take Smitty. I don't want the nutcase on my team. But just for his skills, I mean that's all we're going. Michael, I understand. I know. I remember Smitty's catch with the Jaguars. Again, I took Smitty. I took him. I'm just saying straight up. Blame Megan. It's not my fault. I didn't want to answer it anyway. I still took Smitty. Actually, Caleb. Bro's about to have his house attack next. Make it with the 3 more. Agree Smitty all day. See, there you go. I still said Smitty. I should have just left it there. I should have just said Smitty and not given any more context. But that's what I get for feeling the need to answer a question with a little bit more. Yeah. The next one that you guys are gonna get is that, oh yeah, I'll be on here. It's like, yeah, I got my house egged because somebody saw this comment. And they're like, oh, go take him out. Corey digging a hole. I know. Move off of it. You ask something else. Actually, you know what? We need to do the giveaway. We need to just move to the next topic here. Gift is always right. Is it too late for both Brown and Smitty to post 1,000 yards apiece? No, I don't think so. I don't know what the exact what the exact number is. We just stop. Oh, I love you guys, but sometimes put me in a bind for answering those questions. I should have just one word answer. I should have just said who I would take and no other reasonings behind that. Oh, lean. You're gonna. Okay, yeah. Clip it up and say I don't. Yeah. Well, that's gonna be totally out of context because I did not say that. I still said I would take Smitty for the team. Not changing that, but I appreciate it. Yes, this is the year that we're in. Tone with a 2. Pickens will get paid this offseason and ruin Du Bois. See, that's what I'm hoping for. Like, Pickens is not the player that you want to have long-term for your franchise. And the hope is that Dallas doesn't understand that, and they do. They sign him long-term. Corey, your kids watch Frozen. That's pretty good. I've seen that way too many times. Oh, I got to, bro. I'm about to take one for the team and shave. Are we saying like, are you saying that in terms of like, not just like shave the mustache? I think you mean like go Baldiani. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, Roy. It was the mustache talking. It wasn't me. That wasn't me. Corey, more super chat hypotheticals. No, do not. James, Josh, can you play tight end? You got the height for it. I probably not. Nope, certainly not at the NFL level. I'm fairly confident I could block at the same level of Grant Calcaterra, which I did want to ask Anthony that before he hopped off, but the comments have gone off the rails. Yeah, see, no way, Jose. I'm sure I can. I'm confident I can block better than can't block a Terra. It's not saying much, it's really not. But RWE, I know you probably talked about it, but anything on Herbert playing? I actually did not because I've got too many of these dang hypothetical comments that just reeled me in here. I did not. It sounds like if it's up to Herbert that he will play. So it really, the question is, do the team doctors let him do it? Now, I am leaning towards, as of today, we'll see how the practices go, and that'll tell us more. But as of right now, I'm leaning towards Justin Herbert playing because he got injured. He went and got checked out in the locker room and came back out and played the second half of the Raiders game. I know that it's different sometimes of you gut it out, you play through the injury. Maybe they didn't have all the full details there. But I got to imagine you're playing against the Raiders. So if it was anything even just somewhat concerning, they would have held him out. The fact that he goes back in there and finishes the game, I know he had the surgery. You want to give it time to heal and, all the other stuff there. But I feel like he's going to play. We'll see. But as of today, I'll keep you guys posted. So video tomorrow and Thursday and Saturday. Saturday is the game preview, the full preview, latest up to date and everything there. But yeah, stay tuned. For those that are not sure, yes, did play football. I am 6'3", about 220 fighting weight. So I would be very light for a tight end. But even with that, I'm still pretty confident I could block up to the level of Grant. I'm sorry. I just, I would whiff a lot. I'm not saying I'd be good, but to his level, it doesn't seem like much. Corey, that's a good idea. I probably do. We need to make a bet with Thomas. That's what helped us, I think. It was the rally stash and making a bet and everything else. I lost that bet because Jaelen got hurt against the Commanders, but it worked out for us in the end. Go Birds with a 5. You're Nick Sirianni. We're the team. Give us the pump up. Oh no! Give us the pump up speech we need, please. Oh my gosh! If I'm Nick Sirianni, I'm about to say things that you don't want to hear because the team may buy into it, but I know that everybody else is tired of it. Right? Like it's this is we're going to be tough, detailed together. And actually use some of like Jalen's quotes, honestly. But everything is in front of us. We just got to go 1-0 every week. Got the Chargers next. Take care of business there. We control our own destiny. People outside may be talking all this mess, but we know that we can get this thing fixed. We can get this thing corrected. We've got all the guys that we need. We're confident making a few changes here. And there's some positivities that we came away with in the last game. You know, saw some things with AJ, the routes, but yeah, look around the league. Just got to control it. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen overnight. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. We're not thinking about, the Super Bowl, the playoffs, anything else. Got to go 1-0. So probably something like that. That's about what Sirianni would say, which the players have bought it. Saquon, I think, was getting a drug test, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from the press conference. And he even kind of said the same thing. He's like, I didn't really hear fully what Sirianni said, but I would bet it was somewhere along those lines. And so far, the players are at least buying into the Sirianni rhetoric. They're still believing it, at least what they're saying. I know that we can try to, analyze it more so and try to speculate. Are they actually believing it? Do they buy into it, or is it not? I think he's still currently got the locker room. He has said publicly, and the players have backed him up on this publicly, that it's not the 2023 vibes because of what they learned and how he plans on avoiding it or knows how to not have the same type of struggles or issues or things like that. We'll see. Again, I mentioned this at the very start of the stream. I'm never going to give up on him. It's go Birds all the way. They could lose. They could lose all the games the rest of the season, and I'm still not make the playoffs. I'll be super irritated. People better be fired, but I'm not like, that's it. It's a fan for life. You guys know what it is. I mean, we're all in the same boat there, I think, or the vast majority. But I'm always going to cheer for him, but I do need to be proven something a little bit. I need to be shown a brief minor change. Kevin Patullo talked about this new wrinkle we were going to have in the run game, and we didn't see it. We were told there's this new wrinkle, and I was like, maybe it's Jalen Hurts running a little bit more because we had hoped for it. Turns out that Jalen Hurts does not want to run, which, I guess it's fine. It's his prerogative. I understand not wanting to get injured, but it does take away an aspect of the offense that makes it very dangerous by Jaelen not wanting to run near as often as they do with the quarterback-designed runs. But then also I was like, okay, well, if there's not that, then Tank Bigsby, surely Tank will get some carries because he's been really effective. It's been very small sample size, but he's been effective. And he doesn't get a single carry. It doesn't make any sense. You talk about a new wrinkle, and we don't see that. Isaiah with a 5. I think people don't understand how much the running game helps your offense. Can't name a Super Bowl quarterback with no run game, no motion, barely play action. Yeah, it 100% helps. And especially with Jaelen. Like, Jalen's proven in the Super Bowl he was able to win without the run game because the Chiefs were shutting it down. But there was still the threat of the run game, which made the Chiefs double down and say, hey, we're not going to let Saquon beat us. The Eagles will not run the football. Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw the ball to win. And they didn't think that he could do it, even though they'd seen it in one Super Bowl previously. I think they kind of assumed that it was a fluke. They got proven wrong because Jalen did it again. But yes, the threat of a dominant or just a good running game. But I think now we're at the point of the season where teams have watched it for so long where they're kind of like, you don't even really have to game plan near as much to stop that running game because the offensive line is just not great. They'll get beat, and it'll be predictable run plays too. So it's not going to make life easier on them. They're going to lose the battle up front in the trenches. And then they do have to kind of become one-dimensional. So good luck. It's made it a whole lot more difficult. But it's not on one guy, as I've said. Anthony said a million different times. The quickest and easiest change, though, felt like from a play call perspective is just have someone else, but they're not doing that. Sirianni talked about the changes, and we'll see. Drew with a 2. Nick shaved head under baseball cap. When incoming? I don't know. It was hard to see, wasn't it? It looked like maybe, perhaps he did. He tried to shake up the vibes. Whatever works. We need a win. We need to get right. Kelly with a 2. I'm positive the Birds will be on the field Monday. Okay. Well, that's a positive. I appreciate that. They'll be on the field. I was hoping that you were going to say, I'm positive that the Eagles would win on Monday, but they will be on the field. So thank you. There's a little bit of optimism, I suppose. We'll take whatever win we could get. Yes. Notorious with a 5. Can we stop saying Jalen does not want to run out of the run out of the 150 attempts last year? 48 were tush push. He is running just as much. No, he's not. Nope. He is not. 19 designed runs this year. So the pace that he would have to be on, the amount of runs, the remaining part of this year, in 5 games, if you want to talk about the same amount of attempts, it would be, what are we talking about? There's 102, if I'm not mistaken on that math there. So 102, and he's got 19. So we're talking about 83 more runs over the next 5 games. And even if, I don't know, but even if that sample size that you're talking about there counts for the playoffs, then we're what, another 3 games added on? So in 8 games, you're telling me we need to have 83 designed quarterback runs. That means for the remainder of this year, if the Eagles were to make it through the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl, but that would mean that Jaelen needs to have more than 10 designed runs per game. Not talking about tush push. So, sorry, the stats are off on that one. That's not accurate at all. Jaelen does not want to run. Reported by multiple beat writers and sources confirmed to back that up. Also asked him about it, and if you look at multiple times that he's been asked now, he hasn't really answered that directly. He said even in the press conference after the last game, he's like, we'll be working. We'll be working. It's like, oh, does that look like, more designed runs and everything? And he just kind of grins and says, we'll be working. So maybe they add in a little bit more of a new wrinkle, but no. 19 designed runs so far up to this point in the season, not the same category at all. And we can forget about wherever the tush push goes. But yeah, we're nowhere close to the 102 designed runs. So, let's see. Notorious. He has 84 attempts this year. I'm talking about total. Well, you're talking about, but you just said last year 48 were tush push. He's running just as much. So again, 102 are not tush push. This year, there's only 19. Anthony DiBona went back and checked the design runs. There's only been 19. So it's nowhere close to the same amount. He's gotten a lot of tush push. Sure. This year he's still short yardage. Yeah. I mean, what was it? The one game it was like 6 tush push in a row or whatnot. Is the stop at the goal line, the get the first down, run another tush push, like spam it a ridiculous amount. I think the Kansas City game. But yeah, go back and look at the designed quarterback runs. And 102 of those, again, I understand, 102 were not all designed runs. So some may be scrambling, running out of the pocket, but they're way, way lower. Anthony's brought that up on multiple occasions, but they still have success with it this year. That's the thing. 19 designed runs, it's incredibly low, but it's 7 yards a carry. They're just not going to it. So, It's the reason that it's been brought up in multiple press conferences and asked to Nick Sirianni, to Kevin Patullo, to Jalen Hurts now several times, and you have beat writers that are writing about it and saying like, yeah, it's not there, but it's kind of unsure for why that is. And then finally, we got the reports from a couple of sources, Jeff McClain and Jimmy Kimsky, saying that Jalen Hurts did not want to run because of the past couple injuries. And that's totally fair. I do get that point. Like, if you've been banged up, the concussion that he suffered, the injury against the Bears a couple years ago, what was the other run? The run against the Patriots, I think, where he banged up his knee, and then the knee injury that he had for the majority of the season, too. So it's been the last 3 seasons on those designed runs. I'm not saying that I don't understand why, but yeah, just you look at comparatively, the Eagles would have to run a ridiculous amount of designed runs the remainder of this year to be equal to what it was last year or even the year before. And it's just changed things. Spec with a 2, is it possible they don't want Tank to outshine Say? That would be, I don't think so. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but surely not. And it's because Saquon doesn't even care, really. Like, you just listen to the way that he talks, the leadership that he has. I really don't think if Saquon was like, man, okay, hey, one game I don't have it, whatever, like Tank has the same amount of carries to 50-50 split, it won't be that way for the full season. But if it's a 50-50 split one game and the Eagles are being successful, I really don't think that Saquon cares. You know, there's been, I forget which game it was, but a press conference he had afterwards where someone was asking him kind of, similar, like, oh, hey, some people are upset when they don't have good games. What are your thoughts on it? And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I've never cared. He's like, I could run for whatever. I could run for 1 yard. I could run for 200 yards or 300 yards. Did we win the game? Like, that's the most important thing. So I don't think that the coaches or the team is looking at it that way. Again, I guess anything is possible, but Saquon doesn't strike me as one of those. All right. I got to do the giveaway here, and I probably do need to jump. Appreciate you guys, though, as always. But for the members, so let's spin this. Make sure that I got the wheel here for the member giveaway. LaFou with a 2. Appreciate that. Doesn't hurt. Lead the league in rush attempts. Hurts. I know that Hurts definitely does not lead the league in rushing attempts. I don't understand. No, I mean, he doesn't lead the league. Are we talking about for quarterback rushing attempts? I don't know. I haven't looked up the quarterback rushing attempts, but either way, it's been not in terms of designed runs. It has not been where he was previously, for sure. All right, but let me spin this. So I think I've got this one set up for the members. Here we go. It would be for, by the way, just a refresher on this, but it'd be nice if you're on the stream. If you're not, it's totally fine. So like I do for the other ones, I will post it in the video. I'll give you an opportunity to claim it. They'll have ample time. If they don't, then we'll do it on a live stream, but it'll be for a member on a live stream. So it'll still stick to a member, but I mean, they'll have plenty of time. They're a member. Hopefully, like this one shouldn't be as hard to find the winner after a video or two. But I will make sure and post that. So good luck all. And we've got it on the screen. This is usually better when there's a split screen. I think you could still see it. I don't think I can get it. Yeah, I can't make it smaller, and I've kind of, it's just, this is as good as it's gonna get. You will see the person, trust me, but it's thrown off because normally I have Anthony on there and I've got a different screen setup. So good luck all. Here we go. Who's it going to be? Here we go. I don't know if you can hear the sound effects. I forget if that actually shows up, but it is Anthony B. Fox. Anthony B. Fox. Does this screen show it a little bit better? Yeah, there we go. That shows it. Yeah. I'm missing somebody over to my right, but that would normally be where Anthony DiBona is. But Anthony B. Fox, the member there, it'd be great if you were on the stream, but as I mentioned, you don't have to be. Email me, thephillyspecialshow@gmail.com. DM on one of the socials. Get a hold of me. Whatever you need to do. Anthony, claim that one there. Congratulations. Good for you. And do this every month. So again, for the members, it'll happen every single time. If I do not hear from Anthony, I will do it on the next live stream in a week. And it will be, like I said, specifically for members. I will do members on the live stream, and it will go to a member. So just be on the lookout. But Anthony will have multiple opportunities to claim. I'll put that in the next couple videos, probably, if I don't hear from him. And, and true, Anthony, be a winner. And yes, Anthony DiBona did leave the stream because his kids are sick. So, or his son is sick. So, I think that was the last one, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So appreciate you guys as well. I've got the BG relic card that I drew for earlier, so I'll announce that one also. But crazy stuff. More things planned. When, I'm not saying if, when the Eagles win again, ticket giveaway for the wins, like we've continued to do the entire season. We've had 8 of those. We've actually done more because I've done them for first touchdown scorers also and a couple other giveaways, but we've had 8 for sure games that we've won and done those giveaways. So it's only possible because you guys, 148,000 subs. yesterday that just hit. So thank you for that. Y'all make it possible, as I said, and it's only getting bigger because of it. So appreciate it. Congrats again to Anthony and the others for the win. And more videos to come. Thomas and I should be streaming tomorrow. I think schedule works for him there, but Wednesday night or the Wednesday link. So be on the lookout for that. But then multiple videos keeping you up to date on the injury reports and streaming for the Monday Night Football game. So we will see you guys. Appreciate it as always. Go Birds.